My name is Heinz Kluetmeier. I'm a photographer from the United States, specializing primarily in sports. I'm former director of photography for Sports Illustrated magazine, a large sports magazine in the United States. Also a staff photographer. I've done that for many, many years. My role in the World Press photo jury is to shepherd and be the specialist for the sports category. And in that role, I'm going to work with several colleagues to cut down the initial entries in sports category and then get together with the rest of the jury to make the final selection. We actually have two categories. One category is for portfolio or picture stories, which will comprise up to 12 pictures per category. And then the other category is single photos, still photos of an event that say in one picture what it's all about. And the idea is to make a selection of all those and cut them down to the best possible pictures and then have the rest of the jurors collaborate with us. And if we find the portfolios or the picture stories aren't sufficient but have some wonderful single images in them, we take them out and re-enter them in the single image category. Because we're sports photographers, sports-oriented photography, we sort of know what's good and what's difficult and what makes a virtuosity out of a photograph that some people might think just sort of happens. So it's the kind of thing where you can anticipate things and where you position yourself to get the best possible moment if it happens. And so it's interesting to see what people do with it. And also we look at the best moment and the best emotional reaction to winning and losing, which often is better than the action itself. It's been a very difficult selection. There's so many good pictures that's hard to cut down to very few images. So I'll look forward to having my colleagues hand me some help here because I'm so close to the subject in many ways that I know that there are other pictures that might not be there or should be there. And I think the important thing about a photograph, whether it's sports or anything else, is the initial reaction, the initial emotional reaction to seeing the photograph, and not to consider whether it's difficult or easy to take. It doesn't matter. What matters is the final photograph and how you react to it. My colleagues and I got along really well. It was a lot of fun to talk about things and make observations. But for the most part, it was really a lot of pictures in a very short time. So we didn't have a lot of time to banter and make wry comments, which is my nature, of course. And so we really had to look at about 15,000 pictures in a day and a half, which is a lot of pictures. So at times you needed a break to just regroup and say, hey, let's take a breather. And after a while, you get into a rhythm and you see what else was out there already. Because initially, when you start looking at things, you select too many pictures because you don't know what else is there in that category. Then after a while, you get tougher and tougher and tougher until the last pictures are shown. Sports photography is something sometimes overlooked as a photography category. The fact is, to be a good sports photographer is very, very difficult because you have to be ready to shoot all the time. And in a way, that's what photography is all about, to see something and react to it. And that's what sports photography is more than anything. And I think the closest that comes to this, I think, is people who take pictures of things in action, like what's happening in Egypt right now, what happened in Tunisia, where you see something and you shoot it right away. In other words, you compose, photograph, edit on the run as you go. And I think sports photographers are specialists that way, that they're almost like athletes on the move with their cameras in their hand.